special day to call my own. So take me in your arms and hold me and tell me you love me and I'll be there. Zaire, Mia, what's up? Do you know what today is? Today is y'all. It's our special day. Welcome you to the show. 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 Welcome to the show. Welcome to our anniversary show. Welcome to Marsha's Play. It's our anniversary. Welcome to Marsha's Play.
Anniversary.
Yes, it's our anniversary.
Hey, what's up?
Bitch, what's the motherfucking tea, girl? We been missing for a while, but we back in the mix. What's good?
Our motherfuckers been gone. Look, so everybody been hitting me up saying, like, did you fire Z or Mia? Did you, like, what happened? Why you doing all these interviews? We love your interviews, but what's going on? I said, them hoes took an unscheduled break. Last time I talked to fucking Mia, she said these motherfuckers done returned her coin and wasn't gonna do her. Then all of a sudden, Z hits me up a month later talking about, oh, she's recovering. I'm like, what? How did we get out? Y'all ain't told me shit about what's happening. So I had to kind of, get some interviews scheduled so I can have a show for y'all while they were recovering. But I'm glad to see you are live off the operating table.
Yes, y'all, live and well. I'm glad to see I'm alive too, shit. I was dead going in. Baby, listen. Yeah, I'll let you guys know the detail in the next episodes come because, baby, y'all know I can go long for days.
So this is our 4-year, bitch, what? Our 4-year anniversary show. And so what we like to do for our anniversary shows is to bring one of our listeners on. And we have, as a co-host, and we have Zeddy.
Yes.
So tell us about your podcast. We thought it was perfect because she is also a podcast host. So tell us, introduce yourself.
Yes. Firstly, I'm Zayday. Thank you all so much for having me on the show. Y'all are like my my go-to. Y'all are like my favorite everything, like generally. Like y'all really inspired me to like start my own podcast. And so I'm like super excited to be here. But my podcast is called Black to the Future, and it's available on all, podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, all that stuff. We just had our 1-year anniversary like a little while ago. So
congrats.
I was gagged. I was just like, oh, we made it a whole year. Like, oh my God, like we can do this. Like I was really gagged. So I want to thank y'all for being that inspiration. I've had Zahir on the podcast too. So thank you, Z, for being on the show as well. And I do other things too. Like I have an Instagram live show called Lost in Translation, where I just talk to various trans, GNC, non-binary folks about their life and experience. And me and Z were actually on that too. So that was really great as well. That's me in a nutshell. And again, I'm just so happy to be here. Like I literally squealed when y'all asked me. That's just full tea. Like I squealed and then I called my friends and I was crying. I'm not even gonna stop. I was like, oh my God.
Oh,
so just thank y'all so much.
Oh, thank you. We just, when they brought you up, I was not why her in the sense of like, Shay, why her? but in the sense like, why are y'all picking her? And they were very like, she has a podcast. She interviewed us. She had great questions. She just have great energy. And I was like, yes, I want her. Let's go. Let's do it. Give her the questions. Love it, love it, love it. So I am just, I am so excited about us on being on this journey for 4 years. It's so wild to me. So let's hop into these questions.
Of course. And congratulations on this being y'all 4th year. I hope y'all have many more going forward. Maybe even blow up into like a radio show or something crazy. I would love that.
That would be sick.
Very that. But the first question that I have is, what's been your favorite moment of the year? So that's pretty general, but what's your favorite moment of the year of all the episodes and stuff?
You go first.
Yo, want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So, my favorite moment of the year. My favorite moment of the year was like us going into depth about like transness and like the nuance, like it was different moments on each episode, but like going into depth about the nuances of sexuality and the spectrum of it, around cishet people and transness, and how we can actually help them in their struggle to find themselves. And we talk a lot about that on like numerous episodes. And that's really fun to me because I don't usually hear people talk about that. So that was my favorite moment.
Definitely an ongoing conversation that y'all definitely had throughout the years. So
I'll choose. I guess it's when somebody tried to. We recently talked about somebody tried to basically come for all of us over a disagreement, and basically they fucked up. And basically Diamond called them out on the anti-blackness for receipts and stuff. So I would say that's my favorite.
I did love that episode. I was just like, y'all was just like, it's not this, it's not this, it's not this. And Diamond was like, you know, all words. And I was just like, I love it. It was so great.
That was the moment. It was a moment. That was gonna be my answer, but since Z stole it, I'm gonna pick something else. I really enjoy like interviewing people, and of course I love being on the show with me and Z on our regular show. But when I interview people, it really showcases other people, because y'all hear from us every motherfucking week. You get what I'm saying? So when I'm able to interview people, I get to introduce y'all to somebody in the community that may not be like some superstar, or somebody that you might not know, or you know, somebody who is you know, just in the activist world that may not be like, you know, Laverne Cox, Jenny Mock, maybe somebody who, you know, popular in that particular industry. So I really enjoyed my interview with Dominique Morgan. I enjoyed that it was a current topic about the little boy who was, you know, who they shaved the gay in his head, in his hair. And really giving some nuance about performative activism. There are a lot of people who perform activism like, oh, I want to do this and I want to step up to the plate, without actually thinking about a plan and thinking about the consequences of them performing this in the way that they are, just for clout, for, you know, for some type of, you know, click, and oh, I'm talking about this and I want to be the one who nobody is helping, and I'm going to step up and do the helping. And then when you really actually can be harming people, because your intention, it has nothing to do with the care. Your intention really has more to do with you positioning yourself as this permanent activist. And now the activism has turned into something where people can get some coins off of it. It sometimes it's really just as performative as white people trying to do diversity and inclusion work, but not really being invested in diversity and inclusion, or dismantling the racist system. it's the same thing. It's like it can be a wolf in sheep's clothing because you look at them and they're in your community, and it can look like, oh, they're acting like they're performing this work like they care, but they don't care enough to actually do the work and make sure that it's it's the most positive impact and the least amount of harm in the situation. And so I enjoyed the nuances of our conversation in regards to that. I loved it. It was amazing. I love my interview with Dominique Morgan. If I would have picked what Z said, because I love, I'm a messy ass bitch and I like reading it. But if I was to pick a positive note, it would be my interview with Dominique Morgan.
Oh, thank you. I love that one too. I think it's very important, especially post this current Black Lives Matter, I suppose, like how everyone turns into like, I'm gonna stand up for what's right now. It's like you could have been doing that before, but now you're gonna start doing it now. And then you're gonna not carry it through the rest of whatever you want to do. It just, like you said, it's like, it's false. I just don't like it. Like, just, if you're gonna do it, do it. If you're not, just,
Yeah.
Right.
It's so true.
So I love y'all answers. So thank you.
What was your favorite moment?
My favorite moment? I don't know. I did love y'all reading her on that one episode. I'm sorry. I know that's like a huge consensus. That was so fun. It should have been so fun. I think my favorite, I think I mentioned to you this right before we started, Diamond, is that I love the interview with Maddie. And like the episode with Maddie was just like, it was clear, it was concise, it was so authentic, and that's what I love about you in general, but also I love about Maddie too. Like, it's just so clear and right to the point, like, this is what it is. And I'm so proud of her as well for having like grown and developed and, in this way when she has this huge platform now. So I'm so proud of her in that way too.
Yes, definitely.
But actually my favorite overall, I'm just gonna throw this in there too. My favorite overall episode is the one that happened like right after y'all first year anniversary, when Mia shifted her legs and crossed and her tuck like snatched her back and was crying, laughing. Whenever I feel horrible, I literally go back and listen to that 2-minute snippet on that episode. I think it's like episode 54. I go back and listen to that whenever I feel like my life is fucked up. I'm just like, I'm gonna go listen to this because I'm gonna cry because it was so funny.
Remember that?
I'm always doing goofy stuff. I don't even remember that part. What did I do?
It's called When Tucks Attack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Out of nowhere, you just said, "Oh, my tuck is burned."
Oh, Jesus! Listen. Okay, I remember now. I remember.
It was so funny. I was like, this is the most relatable shit I ever heard in my entire life. Because for me personally, I teach kids music lessons, and stuff like that. And so sometimes, like when we used to be in person, you would cross your legs and shift, and then they just sitting there, and then all of a sudden the pain happens, and you can't let your face show it, and you just be like, oh shit, I'm gonna scream. So it was so relatable, and I just love that moment. So
yeah, Tuck's been
not cute, not for the faint of heart. But has any of y'all's perspectives changed over time, over the last few years, that you have spoken on different episodes? So like different ideas you may have had previously, have they changed over time?
So, and this may be like kind of a gag for people, but y'all know that I'm so outspoken about being trans, and y'all don't give a fuck. Like, I'll tell the Uber driver that I'm trans just to have a conversation, because y'all know I like to like see why people think the way they think and try to get to the root cause of it, and maybe like there may be some way I can educate and help turn that negative into a positive if there is some stigma. But there was an episode where I was talking about, we were talking about Sydney Starr and the respectability politics in the community, and how a lot of everybody's been saying for years, though, she's not good representation, and I was just like, well, okay, well, she's been in more places, in cis-het places, than a lot of trans women I know. A lot of trans women that I know only stick to the gay side because it's easier and it's more acceptable. So if you feel like there's an issue with her being in those spaces, why don't you try out for those parts? Why don't you put yourself in those spaces? Because they're not easy to be in. So I said, you know what? Let me follow my own advice. And I went in, I applied to a very well-known bottle girl agency here in Houston. They make like $1,000 a night and $4,000 a week if you hustle right. And girl, I got the hustle, so I was like, let me go see what I can do, because y'all know I got let go from my job when I got COVID. So I've been looking for a new place to work. So I went, and there was like over 100 girls who applied, like in the building. But I don't work behind like music videos and stuff, and when girls are being chosen, so I knew what to give. So I had pushed through. The category was calling for all Black. I knew the girls was gonna be boring. It was gonna be dry. They was gonna look like workers. Baby, I pushed through with this see-through mesh one piece with some clear heel. Baby, when I went inside, they was like, damn.
Move.
But listen, that's what I wanted to give. I wanted to give like especially since I'm a trans woman, I wanted to set myself apart from everyone. And so I had been in recently. I had been in a predicament at the strip club where they said they don't allow trans women, right? I don't know if y'all remember that. And so, okay, let me bring it around. Okay, I'm trying to, God, these is like, okay. Okay, so let me get back to the meat and potatoes. Okay, so it was about 100 girls there. We did like 3 rounds. I ended up getting chosen by the last round. They said we had the job. I'm like, yeah, bitch, I'm in it. I'm making $1,000 a week. I got this. So they said, okay. Well, a night. So they said, okay, well, we're ready for you guys to do you come in your bikinis and some tennis shoes. Now I don't got a sex change. So this had kind of like alarmed me, and baby, the way my tux be set up.
Which we just discussed.
Listen, so I'm like, oh Jesus. Diamond had told me one time about duct taping and shit, but I was like, girl, I don't know how to do the adhesive, and I'll probably be done duct tape myself together and had to go to the emergency room. So that was out the question. So I'm on it. I thought, okay, let me get to it. I went to the place with my bikini on, and when I got into the door, I see a client that I had before sitting by the owner. And mind y'all know I've been in this situation before where
you told them you was trans.
And I told them that I was trans before. So, okay, so let me back up. When I was at the building auditioning, I told them I was trans. When I seen the 100 girls, I was like, bitch, I ain't finna go through all these girls. And then them say that I can't do it because I'm trans. So I was like, I put the lady to the side and I let her know. I said, hey, I'm a trans woman. Do y'all accept us? Because I don't want to waste my time. And she was like, girl, I wouldn't even have known if you wouldn't have told me. I wouldn't even told nobody until I got the job.
Come on! Come on! Can somebody can preach to this little girl? I've been preaching it for years. Listen, that's how you get in.
If you get in, just get in. Then you pick it up later. Like you push through. Then after that.
Right. So y'all know my motto, girl. Y'all know I don't be getting fucked. So
and then if they fire you after you get the job, you can sue their motherfucking ass now. That's why you do that. Get the job first, because if you don't get the job, you can't sue them for not picking you. If you get the job and then they fire you after, you can say, lawsuit. Word out.
Right. So y'all know how my brain works. My brain don't work like that. My brain works like, bitch, accept me from the gate or don't accept me at all.
Utopia fish. Utopia fish.
And so she was just like, she was a black girl, a cis woman, and she was really sweet. She was just like, you could tell them at the interview, but I wouldn't. I mean, you do what you want to do. Mind you, at the end of the night, she ended up being the manager of the bottle girls. She was like, we don't discriminate or anything. I said, yes, I got a bitch on my team. Because, I said if she wasn't on my team, she wouldn't have told me to keep it to myself. She would have said, you need to tell them. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I'm happy. I go to the bar, right, with my bikini. I see a client sitting by the main woman. The main woman is going to see everybody. I know that's why she's there. She wasn't at the main casting call, but she's at the second one. And so as I see the client, y'all remember that incident where I was at the restaurant and the client spilled my tea and I lost the opportunity working at the strip club as a hostess? This goes all in my mind. The client sees me, who is a well-known promoter here in Houston, goes and talks to the manager, stays up there a while, and then he comes back to me and you know how somebody try to avoid contact? He tried to avoid contact. He looked at me and he rolled his eyes. But I'm like, bitch, I got the job. You can't hurt me, ho. But as they tell us to put on our swimsuits and get ready to do this lineup so we can do a little 1-2. They put on music so we can do this audition, that we don't have the job. And actually, they're going to still be making cuts all of a sudden. So now we don't have, remember they said we had the job, but now we don't. Now they're still making cuts. This is another day. Right. And so I'm like, bitch, why all of a sudden it changed? Y'all know, you got to be on top of things. So I'm overanalyzing everything. So they line all the girls up. We're all trying to give each other good energy. We're lotion each other down, oil, bitch, so we ain't ashy in front of them, because they got 2 niggas that's on live, and they got Too Sexy by Drake playing. So each girl go around the little bar. When it's my turn to go, I look to my right at the bar, and I see 2 of the men who are like, who work there, actually 3. 2 of them have their head down in laughter like this, 10. And then one of them, like when I look at them, you know how when you catch somebody in mid laugh and they try to hold their lips together like this, so it doesn't look like they're laughing at you? Mm-hmm. That's all I need to know. And I walked completely out. I walked smooth the fuck out and went home. And so I'm saying that to say that I understand how hard it is to be in cis-het spaces and to operate in them as a trans person out loud. And I had took all my trans stuff off my IG. I'm no longer like letting people know upfront that I'm trans, because so many opportunities have been taken away from me because of it. And I'm 30, I'm about to be 32. So I've been loud and proud about being trans for most of my life. And it just was, it was really heartbreaking to go through that at an older age. Over and over. And it's not that I'm not here for my girls and I'm trying to be stealth. I'm just not going to give people the opportunity to take things away from me anymore. As much. And so that's something that has changed. Me being so loud and vibrant about it. And I'm not saying that the girls that are doing it, do your thing, do your shit, be you. Like, if that's who you are. But I've decided that I'm just going to tone it down a little bit. So that's something that has changed for me.
I think you have to be selective. I don't think like in spaces that you control that you should have to hide it. But in what we have seen in history, particularly in the past, people who have broke down the barriers that we have had when we talk about Tracy Africa, when we talk about Ajita Wilson, when we talk about these women who had these opportunities because they were stealth, there are going to be some doors that you get in because they don't know. And then they can find out when you're there, but you got to get in the door. It's like a Trojan horse. Sometimes you got to do the Trojan horse to win the war. You feel what I'm saying? You got to do the horse. And so, that's how I feel about it. It's about being selective. Like, I don't talk about, I've talked about this many times. I've gotten fired for being trans. So that's always a worry. So when I go to a regular job, I am not ever going to talk about my transness. For the rest of my life, I am not. Now, if you find out about it later on, or you find out about it in another kind of scenario, but at work, at my job, during an interview, while I'm at work, my transness has nothing to fucking do with this fucking job. And so I'm not going to talk about my transness, even if I'm asked directly. I am not talking about transness at all. Does this have to do with, like, when I was at Bath & Body Works? What does transness have to do with this? I'm a manager of this store. Does the store look nice? Do you have all the products that you need? Did you get out of this line fast? Like, that's what we're worried about. My transience has nothing to do with that. So I'm not going to discuss it. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to let other people talk about it. That's disrespectful, sexual harassment. I don't want to have any conversation to have to do with that. And so I'm very selective. I don't want to say that it's not about me not being proud of being trans. I'm proud of who I am. But I know that I don't live in the utopia. I know that I live in a world where it can bring me harm. So I have to be selective on who I think deserves that part, that side of me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I appreciate you sharing, Mia, because I think it's really important that we always talk about disclosure. I don't like repeating it over and over again, but Diamond's right. It's in the idea that you just got to be selective. You got to be able to get in the door to be able to do anything. And, you know, I think people might find it to be deceptive and, you know, deceiving, but in real life, regular, everyday people don't deserve that kind of access to you. They don't have to tell you about themselves at all.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
Just the fact that we have to be like, oh, I'm going to tell you everything about me, but you don't have to tell nothing. You're not going to tell me anything about you. It's just like this out of balance thing. And they just like they have the entitlement and the right to know everything about me. And that's just not how things supposed to go. It's like, do I do the job well? That's the point blank period. That's like what it is. Do I do the job though?
And then it's almost like you're investing on them being a good person here.
Right.
Where you're at, where you were. Like, I don't know where you're going now, but where you were, it's like, if I be upfront with you, I'm hoping that you're going to be a non-transphobic, fair. I'm hoping that my beauty, you put in this particular situation, your beauty, because it's a bottle girl situation. I'm hoping that my beauty is enough for you to treat me fairly. But that is, for me, I'm a cynic. I am to the core. I try to be positive as performatively. I try to be positive performing that, but I am a cynic to my motherfucking core. I don't feel like everybody has a good heart, and particularly around being not racist, particularly around being not transphobic, particularly around being not a homophobe. When it comes to those things, I think because it's so ingrained in the culture that being transphobic, homophobic, racist, sexist is the default. And I'm going to expect the default. So if I'm going to expect the default, I'm going to change how I interact with the world. And so I'm not going to expect you to be transphobic and, should be trans affirming and inclusive and fair just based on me being honest. No, that just means I'm exposing myself and I'm exposing me to your potential and more likely transphobia.
That part.
That's so true, because I honestly thought that my looks and my privilege would.
You thought that colorism was gonna say, hey!
No, it did. But no fucking shade it did. Because when I looked at the roster of girls, there was dark skinned girls there, it was mainly light skinned pretty girls that they chose. The majority.
But that transit came in and said,
no, ma'am. No, right. But they didn't deny me. They didn't deny me. They didn't say I couldn't. They didn't exactly say I didn't have it. I just couldn't deal with. I gave up, and I couldn't deal with the scrutiny of being taunted in my face. I'm tough, but I'm not that tough as far as like mentally. Like I got anger issues. I ain't gonna lie. And so.
Notice how she looked at me.
It sounds like she be gaslighting you.
I do, because we were just talking about this last night. He's like, you got anger issues, and so I'm showing accountability. I do, and so like they have burnt my pussy to the core when I seen that. Y'all ain't laugh at none of the girls, but when I come up, bitch, and I had the most body out of all the stick figures, y'all wanted to laugh at me. Woo! No, but yeah, it is what it is, and I'm excited about my new journey that I'm embarking on.
We'll see how it works out.
Yeah.
Well, I would say a perspective of mine that's changed is I recently was talking about how I felt about marriage and stuff, and I thought it was played out and stuff. I don't feel that way no more. I feel like that's something that is a rare find these days, actually. So actually, I'm like, there's actually nothing wrong with marriage. At first, I was like, I forgot what episode, but I was like, it just seems played out for me. Like for young people in my generation, a lot of that's true. For a lot of us to do, we don't believe in it no more. So like, I think that's changed for me.
Well, I'm happy that perspective has changed, at least hopefully for the better. Hopefully for the better.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna, because their anniversary revolves around our podcast anniversary. I thought he was about to go into a proposal. That would have been so romantic. But that's just dreaming or whatever. But I thought that was what was about to happen. I'm so disappointed. But I'm glad that you changed your mind.
I'm still optimistic. Maybe we'll have it on a future episode. Like, I'm not gonna discount it.
I mean, that was obviously hinting at something.
So all right. And there we have
it. That's great. I'm happy that y'all talking about disclosure and visibility. So obviously with visibility comes a hell of a lot more issues and people coming for you. We already talked about that girl who tried to come for y'all on one of the previous episodes. So, and I would like to know, how do y'all have y'all dealt with, people having so much to say about what y'all do and who y'all are? So how do y'all manage that from like this past year, particularly since it was COVID and all that stuff? So how do you manage that, like your mental health and stuff?
That actually was the first time somebody really. Yeah, that was the first time somebody really was trying, like a campaign. I'm gonna post this, and you know what I'm saying. That was the first time. Usually we get a lot of fucking love though, and that's intentional. Like I really engage with people that I like. If you on my motherfucking page and my page or Marsha's play, and you doing too fucking much, I block you and delete you. I don't sit. And it's a dictatorship. If I'm going to keep it real, it's a dictatorship. You're not going to come in and talk to us any kind of way. It's not about having opposing views. You can have opposing views, but you are going to deliver those views in a way that is appropriate and respectful to us. So you can't come to our page and just be extra and you bitches is this and I don't like your tone. And bitch, we decide the tone on our shit. Like, we decide what tone we're going to give. Like, perfect example. Recently, I posted a little meme, or what, I don't know what you will call it, but a little meme that said that Caitlyn Jenner was a woman of white men experience in regards to, how she is navigating her political sphere, in regards to her life. And so somebody was offended by that. And in that situation, cool, you can be offended. But it's the truth. And we are talking about Caitlyn Jenner and not you. We're talking about, and that is what Caitlyn gives. We know that her 65 plus years of living as a rich white man informs her experience, everything that she does, her politics, and everything that she does to disenfranchise or add to the bucket of disenfranchisement of trans people in this country. We don't want to say it's just her, but she's adding to that conservative, right-wing, anti-trans bucket. And so because all of that is informed by her history. And so somebody was coming on the page and being, to me, disrespectful. And so I'm going to delete you and I'm going to block you. And then you don't have to worry about being disrespected by us because you won't see our shit. So cool. And it's not about, hold me accountable, but hold me accountable in a way where you're explaining the wrong. You weren't explaining it because nothing that you were saying made sense and relevant to what I said. So that was one moment. But usually, most of the time, most people are really, really supportive. And, and if they are even in disagreement, they say, well, I think of it like this. And, I disagree. Or I don't fuck with what Diamond was talking about. Or I don't fuck with what Mia was talking about. But I just disagree. And my point is blah, 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 blah. I keep that. I love that. That's feedback. That's a community conversation.
Right.
But we rarely have had somebody just like try to undermine our integrity in the way that girl did. We usually in good space.
Well, there's been, for me, I felt like I've seen a lot of people say stuff about me, especially in regards to me and her relationship. Like, I've seen some critiques as far as that, but I'm a sensitive person, so it makes me feel some type of way. Like, what?
This year?
No, not really this year, because we haven't really been open. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Now my way is just minimizing looking at comments on my stuff. So I don't know. That's how I do it. I just don't be looking.
I think it's better to shield yourself and protect yourself and preserve your own peace, because I fully never understood the idea of like, I don't like this, so I'm gonna follow it. None of that makes sense to me.
Never.
This bothers me. This makes me uncomfortable. Unless you're trying to actively learn, that's one idea. But if you just don't just spew hate all the time and disagree and fight, what's the point? So
yeah.
There's literally people who do that. Like, I don't know if y'all have had this happen to y'all, but like on your individual, like personal social media, like say for instance, you post something that's controversial or something. It is always that one person that don't ever comment on nothing else. But on that one post, they got the most negative things to say. And on every post that they post, like that you post, every time they comment is something negative. And it's just people that's like that just wanna battle and wanna to exchange that negative energy so that you can feel the way they feel, however that may be.
I call them the contrary Marys. I delete them. If every time you post something, a bitch is being contrary to you, and that's the only time that they post, it's never in agreement, it's never in to show you love, it's always to be contrary, delete that bitch. That bitch whack. Delete her, get her off your shit, block her, because she a hater. That bitch a hater. Get the fuck off. Or also, that's one thing, or a bitch who always trying to one-up you. If you post something about your experience and a bitch say, I took a trip to the Bahamas. Oh, girl, I went to Barcelona and or you say, man, I had this fine ass nigga that come to try to holler at me at the Wendy's today, and he was so cute. Oh man, it was two dudes at the Burger King that tried to holler at me. If anytime you see a bitch trying to one up you every time, delete that hoe. Bye.
That part. Hello. I guess another thing I kind of wanted to, ask about, I don't know if y'all have had a chance to actually talk about this, but obviously Lil Nas X did the pregnancy thing, and I wanted to know, particularly in Z's situation, how you felt about it, because there was lots of different discourse around it. And since I'm not an AFAB person, I was kind of just mute on it, because I'm like, it doesn't affect me and impact me directly in a negative ways, but that's just my own personal opinion. So I just wanted to know, particularly from Z, how that situation felt to you.
I thought it was weird. I saw people even arguing about that. I don't know. I really don't care. I'm not a Lil Nas X fan, but that's how I felt about it. I don't care. It don't got nothing to do with me. He's an entertainer. I expect him to troll and do what he did.
Yeah, he's definitely an expert at trolling. Like, they think they're gonna beat him at this internet shit, and they not gonna beat him. So I don't know why they keep trying.
They not, because he just said the other day that he was. I think he said he wanted some pussy or something.
What?
Yeah,
he said this gay shit is getting old. I miss pussy.
So it's like you're not gonna win. But could I rebuttal on that? On his question.
Yeah.
I actually went and got when I had to do like 4 blood draws. Like, not blood draws, but I had to do labs like 4 or 5 times. And the last time I did it, my nurse was telling me how she felt that it was wrong that he was doing that. She didn't go into depth, but I was like, I had stopped her before she started to like offend me even more. because the way I view it, from the trans men that I've seen that have been pregnant, and they've shown people, specifically Black trans men, because the white trans men, it don't seem to be that as much harsh, but Black trans men who are open about their pregnancy, or they show pictures and stuff, they get so much hate and so much negative comments. Mm-hmm. And so like to see like how people were just offended by just a belly. They know that he can't get pregnant, but people were offended by that. It kind of made me see how people would view a trans man who was pregnant. Mm-hmm. But even though he's a cis man, it's still, I can't explain it. It kind of
some trans men were offended by it. They were saying they felt like he was mocking them or whatever. I don't know. I thought that conversation happening was strange, but I mean, I never been pregnant, so I guess that's why I don't relate.
It was giving anti-Blackness for me. I can't speak to whether somebody should or should not be offended by it. But the Black trans man, he's coming on a show that I really love listening to, is Caden Coleman. He'll be on the show. Caden, he'll be on the show soon, and I loved his position on it. He wasn't on that. He called out the anti-Blackness of the situation, because and the fake like shock of the cis hets, because it's not the first time somebody has, put on a fake belly as a man and pretended to be pregnant. We got movies. We got, a lot of people have already made the point of there's movies. There's all kinds of stuff about a man fantasizing and doing, getting pregnant, about the fantasy of if they could get pregnant. And really, really recently, James Charles, who has more followers than Lil Nas X, all of a sudden, nobody remembers James Charles' pregnancy picture. But when a Black boy does it, now all the white or white adjacent trans men, because I didn't see any Black men. I'm not saying that they didn't exist, but I didn't see them. Black trans men making this big issue about it. It was mostly the white ones. And so, not saying that that's it, but it felt like anti-Blackness. You picked the Black boy to go up against and to da-da-da-da. But when just a few weeks ago, the white boy that did it, it was nothing. It was quiet and silence. Y'all didn't talk about it at all. Like literally. And then now all of a sudden, I don't even know who James Charles is. He has more followers than Lil Nas X. And he just he be having scandals and blah, 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 blah. People, he'd be trend and do all that shit. But all of a sudden, you don't know who he is. I don't know. It just seems really, really selective and convenient that you don't know who James Charles is when somebody called you out about you outraged about Lil Nas X. So it just felt like anti-Blackness on a level. Anybody can be offended. That's not my ministry, so I can't tell you who can't be offended. But it felt like, looking at what was going on, it felt like a reach. And it felt like some anti-Blackness. This is a Black boy that y'all want to attack, but y'all ignoring all the many other situations. I think, personally, like I said, I'm not AFAB, but I feel like there was a way to have that conversation and bring that up in the context of Lil Nas X without attacking him about it. And once again, I can't tell people how to be offended or what to do. I'm just saying what I would have done. It would have opened up the conversation for me to have about trans men being pregnant, men who birth people, in regards to how we engage with abortion, in regards to how we engage with healthcare around birth rate and da-da-da. I would have opened up the conversation without saying, I'm offended by him. He is making a mockery of trans men. Because that literally, it just wasn't that. It was literally him, a metaphor of him birthing his first album. It was clear as day.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty clear too. I was like, oh, okay. And then, not to give him any kind of like scapegoat or nothing like that, but I remember Got Mick, who was on season 13 of Drag Race, trans man who does drag, like they're some kind of acquaintances or something like that. So I feel like at this stature and this level and the place that he has, I feel like he might have consulted, you know, Gottmik and asked them. That's just my thought process, how I would have did, like, should I do this? You know, but the metaphor is still there and I wasn't taken aback by it. But again, it wasn't for me to be offended by, so.
Yeah, I didn't even know none of that was happening. All I saw was I saw some people talking about it and going back and forth. I didn't even really listen. I was just like, oh, okay. So, I mean, that's bound to happen when people go viral in that way. So I was just like, okay, this is what comes with the game of the situation. So, but as far as me, I was just like, okay, like, do what you want to do. I don't know. That's how I feel about it.
So this whole year and then some, unfortunately, has been affected by the pandemic, and you all have been doing your show virtually. So like many other things, is it different doing it in person? Would y'all prefer, are you gonna go back to being like in person at some point in time, maybe, hopefully, sort of, kind of?
Well, Diamond could go first.
Well, they come to my house, so I like seeing them. It's you know, they're like my children. so I like seeing them on a weekly basis. I think the COVID thing really opened me up, not necessarily made that a particular issue. It just opened me up to, we wouldn't have had all these interviews that we've had if COVID hadn't happened, because I was so adamant about being in person and feeling the community vibe in person with people that before COVID, most of the interviews that we did were people who were either local or who had traveled to Houston and came to my house and recorded. And so it was never like remote. And so the Madison thing wouldn't have happened. Like all these things, because of it was COVID, that made me kind of adjust to interviewing people remotely, because I always wanted that in-person vibe, because it's just something about it that's more authentic and fun, and you know, I just always wanted that. And then yeah, I think it's the same thing with us when it comes to us being in person. I think that it is just fun, and you know, not that we don't have fun. We're used to it now because we've been in COVID for so long, but yeah, it just, I feel like it's funner to record in person with each other.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree.
Well, I hope that y'all get back in the be together. You know, it's not that it changed it for me as a listener. It just made it just always apparent that like, we're still in COVID and da-da-da, you know, like Miss Rona, she's still here and people not taking it seriously type tease. So that was just me. And I just know being in person just brings, like Diamond was talking about, this certain level of energy, camaraderie, this community closeness. So hopefully that'll be an option in the future.
And sound quality is better when it's in person, because we have like mics and all that kind of stuff. That's better.
Very nice. So I wanted to ask about the episode where Mia's dad was on, because I thought that was a really great episode, particularly for me as like another trans woman who has a strange relationship with my own personal father. So I wanted to know what kind of brought you the courage to have him on the show, Mia?
I've only probably met my father probably like 5 to 6 times in my life. Prior to him breaking up with my mother when I was about 5 or 6. So there's a lot of questions that I had, a lot of things that I wanted to know about him, or just there was questions that I wanted to ask him that, not that I was afraid of, I was a little intimidated based on his past and ours. But like with the whole, like meeting him again recently, the whole change, and not just meeting him, just over the years, he's intentionally trying to be an ally, whether it's performative or not. It's beautiful to see, because he doesn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that it was the perfect time to ask him the questions that like the in-depth questions I really wanted, in a way, hold him accountable for some of the things. And so I thought that it would be a perfect time to have that, and just to show other Black trans women that it's possible to try to mend your relationships. And I thought that was a really good thing to do, because a lot of times we don't see that, especially from our fathers. Our mothers are usually the ones that are a little bit more accepting, but our fathers are usually a lot of pushback as far as being trans women, because of the nuances of society and patriarchy, and you get it from the gender reveal teas. So
we only haven't had Diamond's dad now.
Oh yeah, it's true.
I don't talk to him.
I did like her father.
Our very first episode of this podcast, period, is Daddy Lessons, and he doesn't respond to me, so it's not a relationship at all. And
but does he respond to your brothers?
He's not connected to my brothers at all. I'm my only dad.
Oh,
yeah, we don't have. He's not connected to my younger brothers. We don't have the same father.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah. But I do have a brother that is my dad's son that's in Japan, but he won't give me his information to talk to him. Like when I asked him for the information, he didn't respond. Wow. But my brother on my father's side doesn't talk to him either.
Oh, so he's a dick.
Yeah, he's like a toxic. He just has a very toxic personality, and so if you listen to the very first episode of this podcast, it's called Daddy Lessons. I gotta go through the story of how he just it went from my mother's homophobia being the reason he wasn't in my life to me realizing that it wasn't just that, it was toxicity. So, I'm an open book. So if there's ever a chance to have him on, hell yeah, I have him on. But I am working on my transphobic brother being on the show, the one that I just rekindled with. Once we, we in a good place. We're talking more and all that kind of stuff. So I do.
Did your dad reach out to you when your mom passed away?
No, not at all. He reached out to me when AncestryDNA.com hit him up and said, "This is either your child or your parent. Well, based on y'all sharing DNA, this is either your child or your parents." And he reached out to me saying he apologized. He was an idiot.
Because he didn't think that you were his?
That was a part of it, but it's so many layers. You got to listen to that episode to understand. There's so many layers. It was a part of it, but it wasn't all of it. And so that didn't come till later. It was in the early years of my youth. It was quite obvious for him, and he came to the hospital and all that kind of stuff. But for whatever reason, as time went on, that was in question. And when Ancestry DNA said, "Hey, this is your child," he was like, "Well, clearly, since we don't talk and we hadn't talked since 2003, this is obviously, some real shit." And he said, can I forgive him? And we had a brief conversation for like a week, and then it just died. And so, yeah. So yeah, it wasn't. But if I get a chance to have him on, sure, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I hope you do complete the trilogy. We got Z's dad and Mia's dad. We need to complete the trilogy.
Yes. Yeah. That would be awesome.
I can bring who I consider my dad, my little brother's father on. That'd be cool.
Oh, that would be cool.
I get my stepdad. I can bring him on. He'll be down as fuck, and he's funny as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might bring him.
No, I would really love to see that. That would be just seeing trans people have a good relationship with their parents, or some working relationship with their parents, is always something that I'm always looking to see. because so many young girls, trans girls, literally DM me and be like, "Can you help me? I need a mother," and all that kind of stuff. And they're looking to me, and I'm just like, "Girl, I'm like a child too. What do you mean? Like, you want me to help you, baby? Like, but I literally do my best to help. But I think it's just so imperative that we're trying to work on those relationships, but it's a two-way street, as we all know. So like some of them gonna have to pull it together and be like, all right, I have to bite the bullet.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then something that was very fun that happened earlier this year too was the super straight idea. I'm sure that y'all are I'm sure they have hence disappeared for some weird reason because it didn't make any sense. And I know that episode y'all had discussed it quite a bit, but have your thoughts and feelings about it changed at all? Probably not, but about the super straights.
I think the only thoughts maybe that have changed is that I welcome you, super straights. Please let me know who you are. I welcome you to be vulnerable, so that I know how to treat you accordingly.
I don't know. I don't believe in that. That is not something I believe. I honestly, in my heart of hearts, I believe every motherfucking body is queer. It just takes the right circumstance and the right person and the circumstance and comfort and trust and, for them to explore that side of them. I think if I want to be honest, I think everybody is queer. And it's my experience that has informed that. There is very, very few times that there was a dude that I wanted that I couldn't pull. If I had the time and the space to do it, I haven't had that experience. And when I sit and have conversations with people that I'm not interested in, when we sit and get to know each other, everybody tells me their business and tells me about how, I thought about it, or I probably do it if it was like this. I might try it, but it would have to be a situation like this. And if I went to prison, shit, maybe. It's always some kind of excuse where it's either the circumstances need to be a perfect way or the person needs to be a perfect person. And so, or circumstance, even, and it doesn't have to necessarily be dealing with a trans person or dealing with being homosexual or anything. I mean, anything that's like outside of your cookie cutter vanilla bullshit. Every time I talk to somebody, it's always a queer element in there. It's always a queer element in there. So I just don't believe that there are no such things as super straight. I think being super straight is performative as fuck. I think everybody is queer.
I would kind of echo part of that. I don't know if everybody's queer. I would love that, just so people can shut the fuck up and sit down and relax and just be comfortable and people can do whatever they want, judgment free. But one thing that Diamond always says that I tend to repeat to people is that, if you don't want me to be in your bed, in your room and be intimate with you, I'm not going to take offense to that. That doesn't bother me. So that's just how I literally think about it. Like, if you don't want me, then why do I'm going to try to force myself onto you? And I think it's always just so important to let cis-het people know, like, if you see me and you like me, that don't change nothing about you. That's if a nigga see me and he won't be, I'm just like, okay, well, you like what you see. Let's go ahead and figure this out. But like, if you don't want to get to the bedroom and you don't want to let me in, I'm not gonna be bashing on your door to get in. Like, I want to go where I want to. That's how I feel. Like,
and do I like what I see, motherfucker?
First of all, let's talk about that. Ugh, Lord have mercy, because they'll show up. Be like, I got dick and money. I'm like, yeah, I got both too. So now what?
or you're the one. I've never thought about doing this before, and you're the one. So you should be the one that. But you're not the one for me. I appreciate it. I appreciate you wanting me to be the one, but I'm not. You're not the one for me. I'm not interested. No, thank you.
Or they'll give in some type of way, like the cishet men. They'll give like, well, you should be honored and privileged that I want to give you this straight dick. That I chose you to give my straight dick to. Out of all the booty holes and mouths and dicks and stuff, I chose you. So this should definitely be a privilege for you. And you don't want it? They'd be so a transsexual. You don't want me? But you don't even, because they think that we don't have access, which we do. And so, yeah.
Trust me. I'm like, the thousands of followers I have on Instagram and Twitter are not just a bunch of other trans people and trans women being like, lifted me up. Like, let's be very clear. Like, at least a good stack of those is the biggest. So I'm just like, make this make sense. But either way, I appreciate y'all answer. Did you want to throw something in there, Z, at all? About the super strengths?
I don't even remember my perspective on it, but I'm pretty sure it's the same. I don't even remember. I mean, I don't. That's how you feel. That's why I'm at about the majority of shit.
I just want you to be open with me, baby. Just be open with me. I don't want to be in your midst and thinking you an ally and you're not. That's all. And that, whether that be racism, sexism, all of that be no up front. That would be nice. Since we got to let you know that I'm trans up front, let me know that up front.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. So I know we talked a lot about the past, and this is the anniversary for 4 years. So again, congratulations. But I do want to ask a little bit about the future, as it were, because of course the future has important things in store as well. So the question I would like to ask, because y'all brought it up on a previous episode about being able to, like, what is it, like eugenics, being able to pick out like if trans people are going to exist and stuff like that. So we had kind of talked about that on a previous episode. Yeah, that y'all had, like I was there. I included myself, like I was there, I was fine. And y'all had talked about it. And so I guess
you're the listener, you included.
Thank you. And so I guess I kind of want to know is like, is there parts of you that fear being a trans person going forward? Now the visibility is growing, stuff like that. And, you know, it may feel good to get visibility, but it's a double-edged sword. So is there anything you fear, particularly being a trans person going forward?
Yeah. That's the whole reason why I deleted my trans list off my page. And not saying that I wouldn't do things in the community and I wouldn't post things, but because it has stopped my access, I specifically want to be in spaces where I'm not supposed to be in by society standards. And I think a lot of us, if we could, we would try to hide the things that affect our access. And not saying that everybody is like, oh, you know, I'm ashamed of what I am and I just don't want to be this, but I think there are certain goals and certain things that we want to do in life. And if we could take those hindrances away, we would, with a majority of us would, I feel like. So I'm not stealth, but I'm picking and choosing when my transness is available to people.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Honestly, what was the question?
And is there anything that I guess God gives you fear or like gives you hesitation or pause about being a trans person and like being visible going forward?
I will say safety.
Really? You feel unsafe as a trans man?
Well, in a lot of situations, yeah. Like when I went to Egypt, when I disclosed I was trans, I felt really unsafe because of their religion and stuff. So, and how their attitude around it, I felt really unsafe. There was a moment I was sexually harassed too. And so like even at work too, I feel hesitant because I mostly hang around men. So I guess I'm really selective too. I don't know. I guess yeah. I've always been just as selective like as Mia. I mean, I've been selective in the way that Mia is choosing to be now, if that makes sense. So like I've always been like that. Like there's been moments where I've been open and visible too. And that's the whole reason why I'm even on the podcast is being open and visible. And also have been open in general. Like even with doing OnlyFans and shit like that. I mean, like visibility has gotten me places. But I'm saying like as far as interacting with people that are not like that stuff is not digital and stuff like that, like not online. Like in the real world, I'm very careful and hesitant about how I share. I've always been that way since the beginning of my transition, even worse actually, in the beginning of my transition. So I'm just like just now getting a little more open, but I'm still very closed off. And I'm just a very closed off person in general. So I'm just hesitant about everything. I'm just hesitant about, that's just me. That's something I gotta work on. Yeah.
No, thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
So this activist shit is performative as fuck in my life. Not because it's not real, it's authentic. But my everyday life, I am in the house. If I gotta go to the grocery store, I'm going to Kroger's, Walmart, HEB, Whole Foods, getting my food. If I want to go out to eat, I'll go out to eat. My everyday life, I am not coming in contact with transphobia. I'm not coming in contact. I really don't have a lot of white friends, so I'm not really engaging with white people enough to really have racism. Just, you know, of course it's all in our culture, but I'm talking about in like a direct response to a racist person in my face. That's not happening to me every single fucking day. It'll be some random thing while I'm doing something. My life is boring as fuck. My life is boring. I sit and watch my shows on Netflix, sit and text and talk and be on social media. In the real world, I'm not in any danger. I am just kind of other than the indirect shit happening in the world. But I just want that to be clear. So that's my real life. And the boringness of my real life, I actually enjoy. I actually enjoy that when I walk down the street, my transness is not just detected like that. I actually enjoy because I like being able to go to the grocery store without any fucking problems. I'm here to get my groceries. I'm not here as an activist. I am here to get my groceries. I am here to get my medications if I'm at the pharmacy. I am here to pick up my sickening ass lace front or my sickening ass wig at the beauty supply store. I am not here to be an activist. So I want to enjoy my life how it is. Now, if something comes up that I have to battle, yes, I'm going to battle it. Bam. I'm going to be headstrong. I'm going to be courageous. I'm going to say, you got me fucked up. I'm going to do that. But, right, unlike when I was younger, because I was in school, because I was forced to engage socially with certain people, with teachers, with students, blah, blah. I was forced in situations where motherfuckers were put in my vicinity to be able to bully me, harass me, try to fight me, da-da-da. As an adult, I don't have none of that shit. I'm not engaging with people who fuck with me. I'm not doing that. And so my life now as a 40-year-old is much different than my life at 20 years old. I don't go to the club as much. It's just a whole different life for me in regards to the comfort of what I'm able to deal with. And so I wanted to say that, first of all. But because I know I need to have a contribution to the world, because I know that I need to do what is in my skill level and what my comfort level of what I need to contribute to the world changing for the next generation, I choose to do it in a way through my activism. So real life, my organization helping people on the ground, Black Trans Women's Inc. My storytelling when it comes to us sharing our opinion here on Marsha's Plate, interviewing and sharing other trans people's story and negative that are that are on the ground right now in the world, whether it be a celebrity actor or it be an activist that's on the ground or something in that regards. I want to be able to, my goal is to have an archive of trans people's stories and trans people experiences so that somebody growing up 50 years from now will go back and look at Diamond Stylz' work and see, oh, I learned about this person because Diamond's archive of interviews, Diamond's archive of, I was introduced to this person, or I learned a different aspect of somebody, of a trans person that I already knew based on Diamond Stylz' work. That is what I'm trying to create. That is what I want to do. So that what are we doing now? We're hearing stories about Marsha P. Johnson. We're hearing stories. Some trans person that we didn't know that contributed this. Some trans person that I want at what's happening in my life and my decade that I'm intentional about. I want you to be able to find it, and I want to be able to put it all in one space, and that's what I want to do, and I want to get paid to do it. That's what I'm trying to get grant money to be able to do it. but that's what I do. That's what I love to do, and that's what I want to do. That's what I want to contribute. Yeah.
Thank you. Very Monica Roberts. Very that.
Yes.
I guess in so many words, I'm nervous to leave my home, but I live in Chicago. So it's like, it's not as bad as, other states like Texas, like where you all are, is a little.
What?
Yeah.
Girl, you live in Chicago?
Yeah.
It's not as bad as Texas.
She's talking about the state of transness.
It's trans as far as, yeah. Okay. Like it's not as bad. So, y'all saying that y'all not as afraid. I'm just like, I would be petrified. That's just me. Because what's the age cap now? Do they lower it from 35 to 32 or something like that?
Yeah.
Like,
lowered it?
Yeah. And so it's like, I'm gonna be 31 this year. So it's like, okay, work. Like, so I do want to make sure people are always knowledgeable and aware and stuff like that. Just they can know what it's like to just trying to, like Diamond was talking about, just existing and being comfortable, just being able to move from one place to another place without encountering transphobia is just a magical privilege that everyone doesn't have access to. And we shouldn't have to face it just trying to literally exist. So
yeah, I remember being in a mall one time with a girl. This was post-transition. And this lady, I was walking by her, this lady had covered her kid's eyes so she couldn't see me. Like, it'd be stuff like that happened to me. Like as an AFAB person, when people find out I'm trans, there's a different type of, especially with men, there's a different type of energy. Like, there's, like, people just, I don't know, people don't care. Like, people are not intimidated by me at all. Like, there's no, like, maybe some women will be, you know what I'm saying? But, like, the violence is once I know, and then I'm small. So it's like, once I know you're trans, like, there's a certain type of fear for me. Even though, like, even with encountering with Mia and, like, how they treat her, I also know if they were to find out any way with me, it would be even more turned up. So, like, that's just something, like, I don't walk in fear all the time, but it's something that I'm hesitant about, to, like, kind of answer your question. Like, that's just something that I'm just on the lookout for. Like, for the most part, I live stealth and I get through and I have a lot of privilege and stuff and people don't bother me, but it's still something in the back of my head because of my experience within the past few years, really. So it's like, yeah, because I haven't been transitioning that long. It's only been, 6 years for me? And so, like, it's been a lot of traumatic situations, especially being a small man on top of it. So it's just,
Mm-hmm. No, and I appreciate you sharing that because I think the transmasculine experience gets pushed down so much just because you're AFAB people from the gate. So I think what I usually kind of think to myself personally is that people don't take trans men or transmasculine folks as seriously. And I don't understand why. At least it comes across that way where people are like, okay. And then it kind of just lets it be kind of what it's going to be, as opposed to like trans women. They're a little bit more like,
they kind of just shrug off your feelings like, oh, you a man. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, you a man, so like just get over it. Yeah. Like even I've dealt with cis gay men like that. Like for instance, we'll complain about something in the community with how gay men engage with us. And then they'll be like, well, you're a man now. A lot of y'all try to come in our community and you can't handle it. So deal with it. Like, it's kind of just like, it's like our feelings are shrugged up. Like, even when I engaged with clients in person, they would engage with me a type of way that was violent. Like, they would try stuff more. Like, they would try to take the condom off even more. They would, they would try to, and not really with the gay men in particular, but like with the men that were like straddling the lines, like before I got even more passable, the ones that would like try to play around or whatever, it still kind of saw me as a woman. They would try more stuff. Like they would try to be like, I'm gonna get you pregnant. Like they would just be more violent, like in a different way, like with men. So it's just like when she alert too, I'm just as alert because I understand like the violence that men perpetuate, especially when I was younger. So like, yeah, it's just stuff like that. It just come naturally. You know what I'm saying? For me, it's not that, even though I know I'm passable and I have privilege and stuff, it's still something that I'm fearful of because I don't want nobody to catch me slipping.
Yeah, I think, and everybody want to be passable and attractive, and that's nice. Like it's nice to be. It's nice, but like it also, for me, it puts you in situations that a lot of people don't talk about. They can go from 0 to 100 real quick if you're not prepared for it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then that's why I felt the need to get licensed to carry and stuff. Like I'm not somebody that, I'm very clear-minded and clear-headed. I don't have anger issues. I don't have, I'm very sound-minded. I'm not a violent person. So it's just like.
That's a motherfucking lie.
No.
Z be telling me how you be having dreams of shooting people. Z,
no,
how many dreams you done had of shooting people?
That's me defending myself in all those dreams. I'm serious. Like,
oh, I know about me. I'm just being extra.
Yeah, so like, I don't know. Like when people be fucking with me, it happens, and I just be chilling. So like, it's not something that, you know, that I can help. And then me being small is just, so like, and then in my mind, I'm still AFAB. And so like, I know that things will escalate quicker if they know I'm trans, like the same with her. So it's just like,
baby,
yeah, I just be on the lookout, regardless if I'm just going to the store or some shit.
It's crazy, like the violence. I don't mean to drag it, but it's just crazy, like the difference in violence that men choose towards like trans men versus trans women. And sometimes it can be the same. Sometimes it can be like them wearing us out. But like for trans men, it seems like they try to sexually be violent towards them. And they've been sexually violent towards me also. But it's like they try to put trans men in their place, quote unquote, as AFAB people. And like that whole, like they try to take our womanhood away from us and put us in our place.
Right. Yeah, like Diamond always says, like the patriarch is the grandfather of all this shit, and they just think they just running this whole game. But I want to thank y'all for y'all answers. And I guess the last question that I want to ask is, if you could have like any guest or maybe 2 guests on the show, you know, in the future, anybody that you're interested in, who would those people be? That you haven't had, I guess, or repeat if you want, I suppose.
There's been so many people that I wanted to have on, and they would say, yeah, okay, cool. And then I won't hear nothing back from them, so I don't care. I'm just playing. If I could choose somebody, I would have... you go first.
Okay, me? Well, I'll go first since I've been going first this whole time. Well, I actually wanted you on, so I'm glad we already did this. You're here, honey. So I'm glad, well, not an interview, but like you were definitely one of the ones, because I just love your spirit. I love your energy. I love like just the way you interview also. It's really good.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I wanted what's her name? Monroe Bergdorf.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted her just because of how she shook up the UK. And I think she's very eloquent. I think that she's very well spoken. And it would be nice to like see like an in-depth like view of like her progression and how she got to where she is now. I would like to have like a cishet man. I just don't know who. A cishet man that is vulnerable and very, very outspoken about his trans attractiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be, I don't know who, but somebody.
I like that too. On my podcast, Black to the Future, like every episode that has a number 7 in it, Z was one of the people on one of the episodes. So 7, 17, 27, so on. I just interview Black men who are attracted to trans women specifically, because I think that's a very important conversation to be having. And, you know, not that they always use the correct language and not that they always know exactly what to say and how to explain shit, but at least they have the ability, you know, the desire to be able to have the conversation and normalize it for them, because a lot of niggas are just like, they'll DM you to death, but then, you know, nothing will happen. So I think it's important for that conversation to be had. So I agree with you.
Now, just the history of our show. We have had 4 years of episodes. We have had 2 trans attracted men on our show. 2. So we would love to have more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we definitely.
There's some men that out here that are kind of doing that kind of work, but sometimes they politics be misogynistic. So I haven't invited them on because their politics don't align with this show's, and they be saying some wild ass shit. There's a couple of people that I'm like, I see them, the work that they're doing, and I want them to continue doing the work. There's a whole podcast out there for trans attracted men, but when I listen to the podcast, it gets real trans misogynic, it get real objectifying, it get real men talking about transness, and really it sounds like clients talking about transness. if I'm going to be honest. And so I haven't invited them on the platform because, you know, you got to be at a certain level.
Wait a minute, Diamond. What's the difference between a client's conversation about their attraction to trans people versus somebody who isn't a client?
How you talk about it. We can talk about the people that I have had on. They can talk about it outside of the sexuality. We can talk about the emotional, the you know, just the relationship. If you just talking about how much you love penis and tits and dick, and how that is the only reason why that you're in the situation, then it gets weird. It gets real, you know, it gets weird when it's just that. And I'm like, you know, I can't. I want you to do your work because y'all need space. Go ahead, do your thing. But coming over here, you need to move out of that. You need to move into another more human space where we're more than just tits and dick. You know, I don't like that. But to answer the question, who would I love to be on the show? The blessing of COVID as well is I have had so many people that I have dreamed of having on the show. They are either they have already been on the show, or I've already recorded and it's on the way. I have had, you know, from T.S. Madison, like literally there is nobody on I made a list in 2019 of people that I wanted to reach out to be able to, you know, be on the show. And there is not anybody on that list that I haven't got.
Word.
We love a hard worker. Come on.
Oh, no, it's two. I wanted to have Trace, white girl Trace.
Oh, Trace, sickening, yes.
I wanted to have Angelica Ross. So I contacted both of them, but their schedule and, you know, in regards to that, they didn't prioritize it, and so it didn't work. It hasn't worked out yet. Those two are the only ones that didn't. Now, the blessing is that they did respond, because we do have a friendship that was before Marsha's Plate even existed, before they were even famous, either one of them. Before they were famous, we had a relationship, and so we talked to each other, but their schedules, because they are celebrity trans women with a lot of shit going on, it has been hard for me to get them to prioritize it, you know, because of course they can make it happen, but to get them to prioritize it. And I have seen, this is a complaint, and I'll just say it, I do feel like trans people have to be very, very intentional about prioritizing trans journalists, prioritizing trans creators that you work with, just like Beyonce doing when it comes to, oh, if I'm gonna be on Vogue, I get to pick my black photographer, my black woman photographer. Y'all have to do that as well, because I know y'all want to get on Essence and be on CNN and all these bigger platforms, but there are smaller platforms like Marsha's Play that would love to have you on, that care about you more than them, because we are trans and this is your core community. You have to be very, very intentional about not looking at us as the little small platform, and at least, you know, reaching out to some people, and you know, coming down off that pedestal and helping some of the trans journalists out. You know, I think you got to be really intentional about that. But I would love to have, because I got to make a new list because I have so many lists that I've done. I would love to have Amaya Scott. She wasn't on my original list, but I would love to have Amaya Scott. I did contact her because somebody told me to contact her. When the situation happened with her and the
in that movie.
In the movie, and it was a couple of times when Maya Scott got attacked at a Pride this year. She got attacked by a Butch Queen. Remember we talked about it?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she got attacked by a Butch Queen. So I contacted her then. I contacted her about the little movie situation, and then I contacted her again. Something else happened like before that, and I just don't get a response at all, any kind of response from her, and so. I don't think it's shady. I just think it's. I don't think she might check her emails, and it might be one of her agents or something to check it. And if we ain't talking about no money, it's like, you get what I'm saying? No, that's understandable or whatever. But you get what I'm saying? I have contacted her, so I would love her. I would love Yance Ford. That's the director who was nominated for an Oscar a couple of years back. A trans guy. I would love to have Sean Coleman, trans guy from New York. I would love to have Ajane, old school 90s face, femme queen.
Yay.
I would love to have Ajane or Tanae. I would love to have Javon Martin. I can do that. I haven't asked him, but I'm trying to wait. What I've been trying to do, I try to have us do a show together and then throw once a month an interview in, but because Mia then went and got surgery, I had to keep pumping out interviews. So I'm like, I had a little stash backed up. Now my stash is got empty. Child. I got a couple of more in there, but yeah, I'm trying to, Javon. I would love to have Tori Cooper. It's just a bunch of people that I think are amazing activists that are out here doing work that I want to share with y'all. And some more queer folks like gay men and lesbians. I have some ideas on them coming on and talking. It's not like I just interview trans people, but more just queer folks, queer celebration of. I think I want to have Bevy Smith on as well. So yeah, it's just so many people that I want to have on, and we want to know from the audience, like if y'all want somebody on Marsha's Plate, let us know, and like, make sure you tag them and hit them up and say, hey, you should come on Marsha's Plate, and let them know, because if you get their attention, they might come on through and respond to emails.
Okay.
Good. I was a little discouraged by like early on hitting people up. Because I had hit, and which is perfectly fine, but I hit the trans man up that with the red hair that was in the military, who had the issue with them trying to make him wear oh yeah, and he said, baby, if it's not for a coin, he basically, baby, if it's not for a coin, girl, I'm not there.
He also was one of the people who were on that Native Girls post, being real extra without even coming and checking to see what it was about, because he's Black and Native, and I guess he wants to you know,
ally, I guess.
You're the ally or whatever. So he also is one of those people. So you know.
I didn't know he had he did have a pitchfork also.
He was being extra.
To answer the question.
Don't fuck that nigga.
To answer the question, I didn't get to answer it, but I had to think about it. I would like to have C. Riley Snorton.
Oh, yes.
He's a book writer.
An author.
I think he also has his PhD.
Yes.
I don't know in what, but also it's this guy that is the CEO of a prosthetics company. It's called Real Magic. They make like really lifelike prosthetic penises for trans men. I think that would be interesting. Yeah, those are my two.
Oh wait, and I got one more.
Mm-hmm.
Ari Lennox. That would be over. That will fucking be over.
So random.
For what though? Like that? Now it has to be a reason that they're not just Ari Lennox. Why would Ari be relevant to our conversation?
I was
okay, so not just Ari Lennox, also Iggy and
Why?
What? No, listen. No, but okay, so because they are allies in the community. They are women that are allies in our community. Iggy has showed her alliance to Black trans women. At one of her concerts, she brought out a Black trans woman and talked about...
Are we talking about Iggy Azalea?
Yes, we are. And
bitch, please. I'm going to have to make the executive decision. Iggy is never going to be on here. No. Ari, yes, but Iggy, stop. No, that is a whole white appropriating woman. Australian.
Appropriation.
She's a white, culturally appropriating white Australian.
But she is an ally.
I don't care. She should be. All the money she making off our culture, she is not going to be on this platform. Now, Ari, I love her. She coming. She don't need a reason. I'm just asking. I want you to tell me a reason. She don't need a reason. She gonna come. She gonna come. But not no damn Iggy Chapel. Never.
Oh, girl. Okay, so
wait. I was.
She's an ally. Also, she talked about, she was loud and proud about her, just about her alliance with the LGBT community. And then Meg has also been a huge ally of the Black trans community. Also, when that girl was beat by that mob of people at the corner store, she put it on her platform. She has also put trans people in positions. She's done a lot of things for the community, and I think that would be a beautiful conversation too.
Yes, Meg. But I there's a way I can bring Meg into the conversation and make it relevant, because Meg deals, because of her size, the size woman that she is. She's like 5'10", 5'11", thick stallion. She gets a lot of really, really massage noir when it comes to like that kind of weird transphobic kind of massage noir. She looked like a man. Is it a man? She gets, if you pay attention to the comments that, you know, of course she get praise or two from dudes. But if you look at the comments, there's a lot of times that we see a lot of those transphobic tropes that and I don't want to say transphobic, but massage noir, misgendering, things that happen with Serena Williams, that happens to Meg too. So I definitely would love to converse with her and see her thoughts about that. So I think Meg would be great. Yeah. I was
gonna say Mia's gonna be like, can you cut that out?
About Iggy?
I was waiting for you to say like, yeah. Full disclosure, like some of y'all catchphrases from this show, I'll be sitting there like with a drink in my hand, like, okay, so I need someone to say it. So,
yes, come on, drinking game.
I do. I was lame and made a whole list, and I was like, every time you say, "Can you cut that out?" I was like, "Drink."
I love it.
And every time Z will say something like, this is something new?" I would be like, "Okay, I'm gonna drink that too." Like, I just made all that stuff up, but I'm so happy that I got to be on the show and got to be a host. So thank y'all so much for inviting me.
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question as a listener.
Yeah.
What would you want from us in the future? Well, you told us how your experience has been so far, but in the future, who would you like to see us interview? Who would you like to? What topics would you like to see us tackle that we haven't, or something in another kind of way? What would you like to see?
Ooh, wow, I think y'all cover a broad range of everything, and even on specific episode topics, y'all really go into other things that are adjacent, which I think is like really important, and y'all have space to do that. So I can't think of like no specific topics off the top of my head, but I would love the idea of like maybe like a panel of certain folks to kind of have a conversation about various things, you know, they don't have to be big, high profile celebrities or nothing like that, but people literally trying to get to roots of certain things. So, you know, getting to a better accord, I suppose. So I think that would be a good idea. Like, you know, now that we have Zoom and all this stuff, you can have up to 10 people at a time having a conversation about something. So I thought that would be like a really cool idea. Maybe different people from different podcasts to help promote them and stuff, since y'all have like such a prominent force in the community. So I thought that would be a really cool idea.
Perfect.
I think that's a great idea.
We will try to make that happen. We want to thank you for spending time with us today, and tell the people where they can find you and your podcast.
Of course. So again, just in case y'all don't forgot about now, my name is Zayday. And you can find me on Instagram at pinkprincess_Zay. I'm gonna spell it PINKPRYNCESS_XAY. I put the Y because Y chromosomes. It's more fun that way. And on Twitter, it's the same thing minus the underscore if you want to follow me on there. And then my podcast is Black to the Future, and it's available on Spotify, Apple, all the streaming platforms. And you can just search on Instagram, Black to the Future Podcast. That's literally it. I think on Twitter, it's a little different. I think it's BLK_2 the future. So BLK_2 the future. So please follow me, engage with me. Shout out to Mikey, my co-host. Sweet little butch queen that I love so much.
And I will put all of that down in the bottom for y'all to check them out. Mia, last thoughts on our 4-year anniversary. What do you want to say?
Thank you guys for tuning in to our 4th year anniversary. We were so happy to have you all again. Thank you. Just thank you.
All right.
What about you, Z?
That works.
Thank y'all for listening to us throughout the years. It's been a wild 4 years for me. you know, going through 2 surgeries within 1 year, then dealing with her surgery, and just y'all see us evolve. So thank you for joining us for the ride.
I want to thank y'all for continue to engaging with our work and inspiring us and sharing how our work impacts your lives and impacts your education about trans people, impact who you are as a person. I really, really appreciate that. That type of feedback really, really lets us know that we are, you know, changing culture one episode at a time. And so for me, that's what makes me feel good in what we are doing. And we're going to continue to do what we are doing and hope that you continue to support and enjoy the ride with us. We want to keep growing, keep getting better, keep sharing our stories so that you can come back and listen with however long this thing is going to go. And you can come back and listen. It'll be here for y'all to enjoy and share with somebody even younger when you get older. So thank y'all for listening to this episode, and we will see y'all next week. Now, everybody who's been with us know that we go on break in October. So there will be some episodes, but they won't be like current. There will be stuff that we've already recorded. And yeah, so we are going to go on break in October. We want to thank all of the patrons. We want to make sure that you hashtag and tell us what you think about this past 4 years or this past year. And yeah, thank you for hosting. And thank y'all. And I will talk to y'all. We will talk to y'all when we come on back in November. All right. Bye-bye.
See you.
You can listen to the rest of the show on all podcast platforms. Just search Marsha's Plate. See you there.